When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
We're going to talk about the top 10 moments of House of the Dragon, both between season 1 and season 2. I do have some honorable mentions that I did want to bring up. There's quite a bit, right? I think there's some that could easily be switched into this top 10 that you might prefer. So I did want to put a couple of them in here. So the first one that I had for an honorable mention is Aemond claiming Vhagar. I thought that was a really great scene in season 1, watching Aemond fly Vhagar and all of that. It just was very symbolic to the journey that Aemond had been taking in season 1, so I thought that was a pretty impactful moment of season 1. Emma's death mixed with the joust going on in episode 1. I thought it was a great kind of climax for the first episode, where you have, you know, the two sides of it. How men are involved in war, and that's their role. They bleed out there, and you have women whose a lot of their main jobs is to birth children, and I thought that was represented really well. Also, making Viserys have to do a very tough decision, you know, going so far as to want a male heir that he's willing to harm his wife, even though she's going to die already, still is a very interesting thing for Viserys to have to contemplate, and also something that's going to come up back with Daemon and Laena later on in the show. So I really liked the way that that went in episode 1. Another one I had was Alicent and Otto's goodbye. When Otto just missed his hand, I really like the last scene we get with Otto and young Alicent, when Otto is basically trying to kind of manipulate her more, like saying, can you trust Rhaenyra, you know, with your line when she becomes queen? She's going to have to destroy your line because it's going to be in direct competition with her line, and trying to already get those gears turning, right? Like, so it sets up this idea that when Alicent realized that Rhaenyra was kind of lying to her about, you know, sleeping with somebody, you know, specifically Alicent asked about Daemon because that was the rumor going on, but it was really with Criston Cole, and Criston Cole's the one that eventually tells Alicent that. It's a great moment, I think, that holds a lot of importance and value to the show as a whole. Another honorable mention I had was Luke's death. I just think that was really handled pretty well visually. I really came around to the idea that it was a mistake from Aemon's part that he wasn't able to control Vhagar. I just wish they would have developed it in season 2. They didn't really do much with it. Another honorable mention, I have Aegon's decision to go to war. So right up into the leading of Rooks Rest, when we're seeing him talk to his mother and the council, and, you know, he's kind of contemplating what he should do. He wants to live up to his, you know, his name, Aegon the Conqueror, and that leads him to go to war. I thought that was really handled well. Aegon is just one of the best characters of season 2, so I put another one in there. Another season 2 one, we have Aegon and Larys. I thought their conversation, where Larys is projecting kind of how he's been treated and how he has to deal with his own disability, projecting that onto Aegon, thought was really well done. Another great moment from season 2. I had Hugh claiming Vermithor. Felt like a good character arc for that character. Also just a really awesome scene, and so yeah, I think that was a good one for Hugh claiming Vermithor. And then the last one I had for season 2 that's an honorable mention is Alan kind of exploding on Corlys. That kind of is a weird way to phrase that, so take that as you will, but I do think it's really powerful in what Alan's saying. You know, just because he's a bastard, he's not treated as well as Laenor and Laena. You know, he was having to, him and his brother Adam, trying to barely survive, right? They were very low class, trying to work and to get into better position. And now here comes Corlys acting like he's, you know, saving the day and helping, you know, Alan. Alan has worked his entire life to get to where he is and didn't need Corlys's help. And he just comes out at the end of his journey and just says, oh yeah, I need you now because, you know, I need an heir, more or less. And because Adam is a dragon rider. Like, yeah, I think it was a perfect arc to me for the character of Alan with Corlys in this season, or in season 2 specifically, I should say, and one of the few moments that I liked from the last 2 episodes of season 2. But that's going to get us into the top 10 actual moments of House of the Dragon. Let me know if you have other honorable mentions, or if I don't get to one you think should be on here, let me know down in the comments. But number 10, I have Rhaenyra and Jace in season 2. I had to put this on there because it is one of my favorite scenes of season 2, and I'm specifically talking about in episode 1. Jace comes back to give Rhaenyra the news that, you know, the Vale and the North have kind of allied with them. And so, you know, you have him dealing with that, right? Coming to bring this good news, but he's also struggling with Luke's death, his younger brother, and seeing the actor who portrays Jace and, you know, the actual pain that he's able to do with the cracking of his voice. It brings up so much emotion and powerful moment. And I love Rhaenyra and Jace's embrace. It just was really nice, wholesome moment with some fantastic acting and just beautifully done. Number 9, I have Viserys choosing Alicent. I'm a big sucker for this moment because I really enjoy the dynamic, the way this small council kind of is going. And it seems like, wait, why is Alicent here at the small council? And Millie Alcock, I think her best performance, or at least one of her best performances with the character of young Rhaenyra, is in this meeting where it's decided that Alicent is actually going to be the person that's going to marry Viserys, not Laena Velaryon. And because it has a number of things that occur here. You see Rhaenyra's horrified reaction to this, not even saying a word, just you can see the pain and betrayal in her eyes and her demeanor. You look at Alicent, who's very uncomfortable as she's being used by her father, and even Corlys being outraged at this and leading to exactly why the War of the Stepstones even happens with Corlys and Daemon. So it's a great moment that has huge impact and influence on the story, but also is just great in the moment as well. Number 8, I have the feast scene from episode 8. I think episode 8 takes kind of the iconic shot from Fire and Blood in the book of, you have Alicent and Rhaenyra on one side, the greens and the blacks separated with Viserys in the middle. They did it really well. And so you see all this tension, right? Because it's like, on one note, you see a future that could have happened where this war was not going to occur. You have Jace and Helena dancing and all these speeches going on about how, one person is good to the other or whatever, how Alicent's been good to Viserys and Rhaenyra is going to be a good queen and all this stuff. But the whole time you feel a sense of unease, right? There's some sort of underlying tension going on. And as Viserys leaves, you see Aemond is the one that breaks the peace, and fighting just breaks out just like that at the drop of a coin. And just like that, boom, it's already back on the warpath. And so I love the way that the feast scene was done in episode 8. I thought it was really enjoyable to watch, really well done in terms of visuals. The dialogue was great. The themes going on, I thought it was really well done. Number 7, I have from season 2, the Cargyll fight. Yeah, this is one of the best moments that they adapted from the source material in terms of giving us more, where not only is this a big moment between two brothers fighting for opposite causes and ending up killing each other, it's all done in front of Rhaenyra. That should have had that added effect. It doesn't really in the show, but what it should have had, and that's not, again, damaging to episode 2, it's damaging that they didn't really use that in the episodes following that. But I think what they did and how they made it really personal while also bringing it straight to Rhaenyra that she can witness these events and what it's causing, I thought was really well done. Loved the Cargyll fight in episode 2. A lot of love to that episode. Number 6, I have Rhaenyra's coronation in season 1, episode 10. I don't know how this one can't be in your top 10. It's just a really emotional moment where Rhaenyra is struggling with all the losses that she's, had in just one episode, right? She's dealing with the loss of her father, of the loss of her daughter that she, miscarried. She's dealing with a lot. And she's also dealing with, okay, are people actually going to follow her and back her, right? Because they've already declared a new king in King's Landing. Will people follow her enough to where they're going to actually make her the queen like her father wanted? And when you see, Eric Cargyll, have the crown and he presents it to Daemon to crown Rhaenyra, it's kind of that nod that Rhaenyra does have people that care about her and want her to be queen. It's that underlying thing that was really present with young Rhaenyra after Alicent and Viserys marry, where it's everybody's now thinking Aegon's the heir and Rhaenyra is kind of feeling like she's getting pushed to the side. It's that exact thing that comes full circle from the beginning of the season to the very end. The music is beautiful. Emma Darcy, their acting is fantastic in this scene. And it hits the feels every time. I really enjoy Rhaenyra's coronation. Number 5, Alicent attacks Rhaenyra. Episode 7 to me is really where you feel like the heights are being built up. Yes, there's definitely some big moments in episode 6 and before, but this is where it really starts to get personal, right? Because Aemond gets his eye taken out because of him claiming Vhagar and, the blood between the black children and the green children. Alicent's not having it. And when she goes to, attack Rhaenyra, it's that moment. It's okay, well, there seems like we're escalating very quickly. This is Alicent trying to literally attack the heir to the Iron Throne right now in Rhaenyra. And even the dialogue, I think, is fantastic here as well. And both performances by Olivia Cooke and Emma Darcy really highlight this scene, even as we see both sides align, right? We see the green side, we see the black faction, where it's Rhaenyra, Corlys, Daemon. It's interesting. I love the way that we have the symbolism by showing, right? It's not them just sitting here going, yeah, this is our side in dialogue, but no, they show it, right? They show both sides and how this war is escalating now that we've now seen blood be taken from the queen. It's going to escalate even further. And so I really like the way that was done. I think the performance really bring the scene up, and the dialogue as well is really great in that scene. Number 4, I have Rooks Rest dragon fight. And so I specifically mean like Melees versus Vhagar, but just in general, I think the way that they were able to bring these dragons to life in the battle for Rooks Rest, I think was just a visual masterpiece. I think they definitely improved upon some of the things of Game of Thrones. Now in Game of Thrones, we only really saw a dragon fight in season 8 because the dragons were already with Daenerys, so there was no like in dragon fighting dragon situation. But I think they took that and they went even further, and I thought it was incredibly well done, especially with what we know about Aegon going into that fight, even with what Aemond has done to Aegon, and then his next fight then with Rhaenys. I thought it was pretty well done in episode 4. Big fan of what they were able to accomplish with the dragon fight in episode 4. Number 3, I have another season 2 moment. I have Otto's dismissal. I think objectively, if you talk about the best dialogue, the best acting, the importance, and the value to the actual show, I think season 2's highest moment is Otto's dismissal as Hand of the King for the second time. Just the acting is beautiful, right? It just seems like Otto is this character that's just like, he's almost amused that Aegon even has the balls to get rid of him after he's the one that did all this work to put Aegon on the throne. And just there, it just feels like Otto is putting Aegon down. Even when Aegon's like, well, Viserys named me to be king, and Otto just kind of scoffs at that. They were already planning that. That's maybe Alicent justifies it herself that, oh, Viserys said it on his deathbed, but not Otto. Otto was planning to do this from the beginning, right? As soon as Aegon was a possibility, like as soon as Alicent was having kids, this had been in planning for years. So I really do enjoy what we got with Otto's dismissal. I do think it has to be number 3. But at number 2, I do have Alicent's green dress scene from episode 5 of season 1. To me, it is the climax of Alicent's arc in season 1 in terms of the first 5 episodes with young Alicent. It's finally her breaking away from Rhaenyra, right? It feels like that trust that she once had for Rhaenyra is gone, and whether you believe that's justified or not, that's what occurs here. And it's all built upon the conversation that I talked about in the honorable mentions, where Alicent is someone that has come to not trust Rhaenyra, and right, Otto has already put those seeds into her mind that if you can't trust her, what is she going to do when it comes to your children having maybe a better claim than hers do, right? And so that is kind of the main central point of this, and it's Alicent finally picking a side. She's not playing both sides anymore. She's not trying to be friends, or at least friendly, with Rhaenyra, while also trying to further her own father's interests. It's her picking a side, and it's her finally giving us kind of her movement into the Hightower camp. But also it has one of the best soundtracks in it as well. I love the way the scene is like brought to the table when you have Viserys about to give a speech and he's talking, and then instantly he's cut off and the room basically goes silent and all eyes are on Alicent. I think it was beautifully done. Number 1 has to be Viserys's badass moment from episode 8. It's just obvious to me. I think some of the best acting, there was improv in this scene. Viserys coming to the rescue for Rhaenyra one last time, giving all of his strength left to do this one last decision to save Rhaenyra's children from basically being shamed as bastards publicly. And I think the acting from almost everybody in the cast that's present is insane. Otto's like look when he sees Viserys come in is just shockingly beautiful. Rhaenyra like basically giving that look to Viserys of just deep love and care. Beautiful. Even Matt Smith's Daemon, where he's picking up the crown and you see that connection that the two brothers have. Even Alicent's reaction. It's just perfectly done. It is, in my opinion, the perfect way to really end out Viserys' character as he dies in this episode. Just give him one last moment. And I really enjoyed doing this, just kind of recounting some of my favorite moments from the 2 seasons of House of the Dragon. But I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.